Okay, we are on the Ultimate World Cruise. It is May 20th, 2024, and we stopped at La Réunion Island, which is a French overseas territory. The people here are French citizens. They vote in French elections, and the main language is French. They do speak also some Creole, French Creole here. This map of the island shows kind of the layout. The ship docked in the upper left-hand corner where you can see that ship going in. That's where the port is. There's two big volcanoes. There is the Snow Peak up on the north, and down on the bottom right-hand corner where it says Volcan Fornis, that is where the volcano is. That's where we're headed. So we're going to drive all the way down the west coast and then up into the mountains to get to Furnace Peak, which overlooks the volcano. And during the trip, you'll be able to see both peaks. So on our way up, it took about an hour and 45 minutes to get there. We're looking south here, and that peak you can see off in the distance is Snow Peak. And it was the original volcano that formed the island many, 100,000 years ago, however long it was. It's no longer active. It's dormant now. But where we're going, called Furnace Peak, is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. And it erupted last July. You'll be able to see in a minute the lava flow from last July's eruption. It's a shield volcano, and it's a gentle one. It only gurgles and bubbles. It doesn't explode. At least it hasn't yet. So the first place he took us was this overlook. This huge valley here was partially filled up with soil when the caldera collapsed. The caldera is up and to your left. You can't see it because of the trees. It'll make more sense when we get up there. You'll see the caldera and where it collapsed and then overflowed down this valley. So you're going to notice that the valley is partially flat in the bottom because it was filled with whatever the mud and gook was that flowed down from the caldera when it collapsed. So you're looking out to the west. You can see the ocean out there. And this reminds me a lot of the Grand Canyon of Hawaii. It's beautiful. It's a couple thousand feet down to the bottom of the ravine down there. There is a trail you can walk up all the way up to the caldera. But of course, we didn't have time to take it. We had to be back to the ship for departure by 2 p.m. Captain told us we're leaving at 2:30 and we're not waiting for anybody because we got a long way to go to our next stop, which is Port Elizabeth in Africa. So this was a bonus stop that we picked up because of the reroute. So the island is about 107 miles east of Madagascar and about 110 miles southwest of Mauritius. It's about 969 square miles, roughly 40 miles tall, and that's north to south, and roughly 30 miles wide, east to west. And there's about 850,000 people living here. It is a beautiful place, completely an unexpected stop for us, but it's beautiful here. We would love to come back sometime. The climate is wonderful. It's in the 50s up here on top, and probably mid 70s, mid to high 70s down at the ocean. You can see the ocean out in the distance, and this valley, so that you're looking west. That's the west coast of the island you're looking at. That's where the best beaches are. And we're going to stop at a beach on the way back called Hermitage Beach. But this valley filling up with mud and gook will make more sense when you see the caldera up on top. It's probably 2,000 feet down to the bottom, almost straight down from this vantage point that we're looking at here. It's very impressive. And like I say, it reminds me of the Grand Canyon of Hawaii. It's just gorgeous. We have to pick a perfect day. Normally, if there's clouds up there, it's white out. You can't see anything. So our second stop was a caldera that collapsed. We're on our way up to Furnace Peak, and you can see off in the distance there, that's Snow Peak. That's the other volcano that's extinct, the one that formed the island, and is now completely extinct. And there's the caldera. You're going to see it in a minute. So I sped up the walking here because it was kind of boring. But once we get to the edge up here, It is straight down at least 1,000 feet, and there's no guardrail, no nothing. And that little overhang right there is actually hanging out like a diving board over. And unfortunately, I didn't realize it. The shadows are such that you can't see down. It was so bright outside, and the shadows were so deep that you can't see down. But take my word for it, from that little overhang right there is straight down about 1,000 feet. And you could see when we get up there, some people were hanging on to their feet when they were laying down and taking a picture over the edge. There's no guardrail whatsoever. Steve McIntyre's up there on the precipice. It's a good thing his wife, Kathy, was farther back. There's Mark up there going to hang over the edge to take some pictures. So the vibe here on La Reunion is like France meets California and Africa at the same time with their Creole influence. They used to have a lot of slaves here, so there's a lot of African influence, some Indian, and a little Chinese, but mostly France meets California. They don't speak English, mostly French and Creole, but the climate here, as it turns out, this is the best month of the year to visit La Reunion because the weather's so pleasant. There's Steve hanging over the edge. Anyway, so this crater collapsed, and there's no water in the bottom of it, so and there's no way for the water to get out, so the water somehow percolates down and gets out somewhere. So our next stop is going to be the actual the plane that collapsed into the caldera, and then you'll see it makes more sense. You could see where it spilled over and went down that ravine or that valley that we looked at a few minutes ago. So, and again, I didn't realize that my camera wouldn't film in the shadows, but it is literally straight down 1,000 feet below where I'm standing. Okay, so here's this whole plateau up here collapsed. You can see the mountain ridge over there on the right. Everything used to be that high. And then Furnace Peak is actually straight ahead. There's two peaks, one with a flat top on the right, and then the one behind it with a little cloud around it that's black. That's Furnace Peak. That's where the volcano is. And so this whole area here collapsed and it spilled down those valleys. So if you look out slightly to the right there, you'll see that where the mountain goes up, that's the valley where it drops off, where we had filmed before. So all that mud and ooze and everything went down that valley and filled the valley floor up. It also drops off to the left. So we're going to go down that series of switchbacks you can see over on the left there and drop down in the valley floor, drive across it where you can see the road going. And then there's a vantage point where you can actually look at the volcano, and that's where we're headed. We picked a great day because a lot of times this is whiteout up here. The clouds envelop everything and you can't see anything. So we're fortunate to have such a beautiful day to go explore. So it's taken us, I don't know, probably 2.5 hours to get here. And because we have to be back north into the island by 2, we're going to have a short visit up here at the top of the volcano. Then we got to head back north. So there's the volcano, just barely obscured in the clouds. You can see the top of it. That lava that you can see over on the left-hand side was from last July's eruption. And actually, even when the volcano's erupting, you can go to this vantage point and watch. We're up on top of that rim that you can see off to the left there. And you can watch when the eruptions come, the volcano erupts, the lava comes down and flows off to the left. So that's where the new island's being created down. If it makes it all the way to the beach, it goes into the ocean down there on the left. And that's where it creates new land. So down right there, You're going to see it in a minute. There's a small vent down on the floor of the caldera, and people are actually hiking. You're allowed to hike all that way. I mean, it's probably a whole day hike to get down there and back, but you can get down to the valley floor and you can hike all the way up the other side, up those lava flows, up to where the actual rim of the volcano is. Down there on the left, you can see the vent. There's a little kind of a mountain around it. And there were people down there hiking over the edge of that. You could see they look like ants from this perspective. And there were also people hiking across that lava flow going up to the top of the Furnace Peak. Now, if you turn around, I got a clip that's coming up in a minute. If you turn around from this vantage point, you can actually see Snow Peak, the other volcano at the north of the island. So we're at the extreme south end. And so the plate must be moving to the north because the old volcano used to be over the hot spot and now this one is. So it's on the south end of the island. It is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. And interestingly enough, La Reunion also has the unfortunate distinction of having the most shark attacks of any place in the world. There's a lot of whites and tiger sharks and bull sharks here. And they had the record of the most shark attacks of anywhere in the world recently. So mostly the people swim over. That's a Snow Peak in the background there. This is the beach. So on our way back on the west side, driving north, we stopped at this beach called Hermitage Beach. It was our last stop of the day. So the reason that Reunion Island has more than Australia and more than United States is because it lies on what's called Shark Alley. It runs from the tip of Australia up to the tip of the south tip of Africa, and so the sharks migrate and they come up this way. They like to stay in these waters. So on the west side of the island, this is one of the nicest beaches. You can see there's a reef out there. Waves are breaking. You can't really see it, but those waves are 6, 7, 8 feet tall out there, and they break a second time coming into this beach. We happened to be there on a holiday, so that the beach was pretty crowded with people enjoying it. It was a beautiful day. Lots of families barbecuing and just enjoying the beach. So I think this is a kind of a protected area where, since it's inside the reef, it's probably not too much issue with sharks, hopefully anyway. But we enjoyed Reunion, and it would be a fun place to come back to and visit sometime if we ever get back this way.